All right, so first of all, when you look at this figure, so you'll be given 4 points on your test, and you'll be asked to plot those 4 points. Okay, so please plot them carefully and accurately. And then once you've done that, you'll connect the dots, and then we'll ask you what kind of figure this is. So when you look at this, first of all, what do you suspect it might be? Okay, you might think it's a kite. What else could it possibly be? Maybe a rhombus. Okay, is it going to be a rectangle? No, why not? Good. No 4 congruent angles, okay? And maybe the diagonals are perpendicular, right? All right, so we think maybe kite or rhombus. All right, and we don't have right angles, so it's not going to be a rectangle or a square, okay? So how do we figure out if what this guy is, Maya? I like that. If we draw a line between S and Q and P and R, we have a perpendicular line because a horizontal and a vertical are perpendicular. So that tells us it could be, yes, yes. Okay, you're welcome. Sam, we're doing page 408, the chapter review, 1 through 28. Okay, Good. Absolutely. Okay, now, one problem with knowing it's a kite because they're perpendicular, there's one other figure that also has perpendicular diagonals, right? And which one is that? Which other shape has perpendicular diagonals? A rhombus, okay? So this is still a rhombus or a kite, right? So we know that that's going to happen, okay? So we have to find distances, don't we? Okay, now distance formula is going to be, you know it and you've used it, right? But it's a lot of writing. So remember that you can also, when they're graphed, use Pythagorean's theorem. So what we want to do is we want to see how much between S and P, how much did we rise? 2. How much did we run? 4. So we made a right triangle here, and we want to find out what C is. Okay? So if we're trying to find C, we're going to use Pythagorean's theorem. Exactly. 2 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. So what is 2 times 2? And what is 4 times 4? So 4 plus 16 is 20. So if C squared is 20, then how do we figure out what C is? Do the opposite of squaring is square root. So C is going to be the square root of 20. Okay? And that's how you show your work. Now, this is a lot of writing, right? And I would practice it this way. But if you get to the point where you can say 2 squared is 4 and 4 squared is 16, 4 and 16 is 20, and you write square root of 20 here, that's enough work for me. Okay? Because you've shown me what this length is. This is finding this length to see if there are any sides that are congruent. Okay? Now, same idea here. When we're going from S to R, how much is it going down? How much is it going over? So do we have to go through all of this work again? No. This is going to be the square root of 20 as well. Right. We can't assume they're congruent. Once we know these are congruent, we could put a single tick mark here, right? But we can't just put the tick marks without verifying with numbers. And that's what I needed to see last year and I didn't see for my students. And that's why we're doing this now. Okay? You have to show your work. You have to tell me what this length is and what this length is. Exactly. Or at least we can show that this is 2 and 4, right? And 2 squared plus 4 squared is still going to get us square root of 20. Okay? So let's do it. Yep, let's do it to the other side now. Okay, we're rising 2. And we're going over 5. Oh, wait a minute. That's not going to get us a square root of 20, is it? Because 2 squared is, and 5 squared is, so 4 plus 25 is 29. So 29, is the square root of 29 equal to the square root of 20? No. So we know that it can't be a rhombus, and this is going to be 2 and 5 again, right? So this is also square root of 29. So what kind of figure is it? A kite, which we suspected it might be, right? But we had to verify it. Good. We're going to do a few of these together, and then we're going to start on the chapter review. All right, so the consecutive sides were congruent, but the opposite sides were not. Therefore, it's got to be a kite. Make sense? Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. So we graph this. Now, what do we suspect it is? A square. What else could it be? A rectangle. Okay. So those are the most concrete, the most specific things that it could be, right? So how do we know if it's a rectangle? All right, so diagonals are congruent, 4 right angles, right, and 2 pairs of congruent sides, right? So let's do a shortcut here, because what kind of line is AD? All lines are straight. I heard that every hour. 0 slope. Slope is 0. How about, because it's a horizontal line, right? What kind of line is AB? Undefined, right? Because it's vertical, right? So vertical lines are perpendicular to each other, aren't they? So show me this. Yep, one is slanted. Okay, so show me those 4 right angles. Okay, so we know for sure it's a rectangle, right? How do we check to see if it's a square? Yeah, I've got to check and see if all those sides are equal, right? So how many steps between B and C? All right, how many vertically? 6, right? And this is 6 and this is 7. So if you have these marks on your paper, that's showing your work. Okay, now it's not a guess anymore. So it's not a square. What is it? Good. Why? Good. So it's a rectangle because exactly. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent, making it a parallelogram, but we have 4 right angles, so we know it's a rectangle. It could. So you can say 4 right angles, but not all sides congruent. I like that even better. Way to be more specific. Yes, sir. No. Because you're sitting here on your phone and not working with us. Okay? Show me. Okay? All right, here's the next one. Okay? Show me why. You can't just tell them, look, you need to show me with numbers. That's the whole point. Last year they just wanted to graph it and say, oh, it's a rhombus. But you have to verify it. You have to explain. You have to show me with numbers how you get that answer. In real life, you're going to have to prove to your boss why you need more funds, why you don't have enough on your payroll, why someone needs to be paid more, why someone needs to be fired, why somebody needs to be written up. Okay, you have to be able to rationalize and justify, and that's what we're doing, is teaching you logic and reasoning skills. Okay? So we suspect that this is a rhombus, right? Okay? And it's probably right on. We're probably spot on, but we have to verify. So how do we tell? Use our slope, right? And so if we can get, but even better than slope, let's find lengths. Does that make sense? We want to find the distances between those points, okay? How long is AB? What's its length? Okay? So how much as we go from A to B, how much are we going up? 8, okay? How much are we going to the right? Sorry, length, my fault. All right. So use Pythagorean theorem on that. Yep, a squared plus b squared. So 64. And what's 64 plus 4? So what's this side going to be? 68. Square root of 68. Okay. Let's check. Are we still going 2 over and 8 up? Then you don't have to do any more calculations. You show me 2 and 8, and you just write square root of 68, and I'm happy. Okay, so the first one I said from A to B, I went up a total of 8, and I went right 2. And so 64 is the, sorry, no, my phone. So 8 squared plus 2 squared. I should have written that extra step out. All right, so we showed the opposite sides are both square root of 68, right? Very good. Up 2 and over 8. Good. Well, all the sides are equal, right? So it could be a square. Does it have right angles? No. So what does it have to be? So it has to be a rhombus. Yep, 4 congruent sides. Okay, so I have to see those numbers to know that it's not just a guess, that you actually work the geometry. Okay, just like your boss will need to see the numbers. This person was late this many times, made these mistakes, therefore we need to write them up. Okay, they're not just going to say, I trust my gut, I know. Okay, same idea. Yep, we'll do one more together. Yep, let's do one more together. Okay, or do it by yourself. I'll give you some time to think. Okay, so we think it might be a rhombus, might be a square. We've got some good suggestions. So we've got to verify. All right, so we're going to find our sides, right? How much are we going up? Up 4 over 4. So 16. $32. Yep. So yes, basically if you're showing me this is 4 up, 4 over, right? Definitely going to be the same, 4 over, 4 up. It's better if you do. But there's no way that we're going to get anything else but square root of 32 all the way around, right? Okay, nope. Okay, because you're showing me that these have to be congruent. So it's a square, why? How do we know? Okay, so we're going to draw these in, right? But these aren't perpendicular and horizontal lines, right? So what's the slope of this line between G and H? Not positive 1, but negative 1, because we're going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So M is negative 1. And what's the slope of this one? Positive 1. What do we know about slopes that have negative reciprocals? They're perpendicular, exactly. So now we can put our right angle in there. You tell me this, and those make sense. So it is. So don't forget, okay? We had to find it anyway, right? We had to figure out how much we were going over. It would be, it's not quite right, because the better answer is, if I ask you for the most specific, this is a square. Why? All four congruent sides. Okay? Four congruent sides, four right angles. Does that make sense? That's what I'm looking for. Okay? All right. So there are two more. I want you to practice those, right? They're great practice. And then your assignment is going to be on page 408 today. We're going to flip-flop things. We want to do 1 through 28 on page 408 with these last two problems. And then tomorrow, when we have all of our flashcards cut out, we're going to play a game, okay? And so you'll want to have those cut out. So I've got scissors out and so forth. You can be working on these last two problems, page 408, or cutting your flashcards out. Make sense? All right. This.